There are a lot of videos out there telling you why fighting games are hard, what you can do to get good, or why making it so easy for new players like Street Fighter V, making every combo and every input really easy, can be a detriment to the game. This is not that type of video. Many people try to tell you, oh, it's just practice, practice makes perfect, just practice, practice, practice. I don't see a point in this. What's the point in telling someone to study if they never learned how to study in the first place? There are certain tips and tricks to this whole studying thing. Same thing when you want to get good at fighting games. And by the studying analogy, I don't mean that you have to be a genius. You don't have to be a genius to know that the earth is not flat. You do not have to be a genius to enjoy fighting games. And with that out of the way, I'm gonna tell you how to get good at fighting games. Disclaimer, this is mostly my opinion and it may not work for you. Nonetheless, it may give you some guidance. My first point is something that everybody has told you. You are going to lose. It doesn't feel good to lose, right? Like when you get beat by some kid online doing the same move over and over again. It's soul crushing. You have to get used to it. It won't go away until you get somewhat decent at the game, and that's not easy to do. You will get angry at the game, at yourself, at your opponent. It doesn't matter, you will get angry. But it's not such a bad thing. Being angry or being salty means that you're not satisfied with how things went, and that's good. Imagine if you lost and you were like, and continued with your life. You will never get good that way. Have little outbursts to help you out. Slam your desk a little. Shout a little. I don't know, whatever helps you get a little less angry to let it out. It's healthy. This doesn't mean that you have to shout at your opponent, send him messages, tell him he's a scrub, he's not playing the game well. No, that's not what I mean. I mean do it within your own space, within yourself. Let yourself be angry and let that anger out within a controlled environment which will not affect others. If you don't do what I'm saying, it's likely that the anger will sit on you, you will get angrier over time, and you will not enjoy the game. Okay, so you got angry, you got it out of your system, and now you're ready to come back to the game and repeat the process again. So you got angry and got it out of your system. Now you have to go back to the game and repeat. This is probably the hardest part of getting good at fighting games, because repeating this takes mental fortitude. So the first part in building your mental fortitude in fighting games, and to start getting good at fighting games in general, is admitting you suck. There are many people that just don't admit this. If you don't believe me, go to the Twitter account at scrubquotes. Well, you will find real quotes by real people saying like, oh, you were just spamming, you're not playing the game right, and so on. These are just excuses, and as such, they just prevent you from actually getting better at the game. So the second part of building your mental fortitude is to stop saying this kind of stuff. Don't say spam or anything like that, because you're just putting a wall in front of yourself. So you stop saying those kind of scrub quotey things and you admitted you suck. And here is a little problem many people have. They dismiss their matches and losses as I just suck. Which may be true, but it's not a good way to learn. People will tell you that losing is the best way to learn, which is true if you see why you lost. If you just say, oh, I lost because I suck, you're not learning anything. This is my third and final step in building your mental fortitude in fighting games. You admitted you suck, you can go back to playing even after you get angry. So now what? Well, pinpoint why you're losing. Is your opponent just wailing on you? and you can't do anything about it, well, maybe there's something in the game to prevent that from happening, like a push block. You will be very surprised to know that when I play Skullgirls Online, there are a lot of people that don't know how to push block. Like, it honestly amazes me. There was once this guy that didn't know how to push block, nor knew what push block meant. So when I did my Eliza thing, in which I just wail on you, he was like, so what am I supposed to do here? I told him push block. He was like, I'm blocking. No, I'm like, push block. And then I explained to him what push blocking was, and that he is kind of being dumb, because how can you be any good at a fighting game if you do not know a core mechanic in it? He was like, oh, I've been on online tournaments and come out second. And I'm like, okay, most likely everyone in there sucks. My point here, even if it's an extreme one, he was losing because he didn't know a core mechanic in the game. He had to ask himself, so how am I supposed to deal with this? I'm losing because I cannot do anything to this specific thing. And that's the mental fortitude. It's basically just thinking a little bit. Like if you lose to a lot of flows, if you lose to assists and so on, maybe if you just lose to people wailing on you, like I said, ask yourself, is there anything I can do to stop this from happening? Which takes us to our next point. So now you have the mental fortitude and can think a little bit on why you lost. So now we have to work on that. Working is the next point. Here's a little thing I'd like to say. I think people telling you that fighting games are work have a misconception about fighting games. Claws on Bombs, a Skullgirls player, told me that fighting games are more like a hobby, like playing the guitar, and I completely agree with it. If you grab a guitar and start learning to play the guitar, you will play like a couple of hours every couple of days, and you will be getting better through time. It's the same with fighting games. But here's the thing, in a fighting game, if you go in, play online, and just start pressing buttons without thinking of what you're doing, without the mental fortitude I just talked to you about, without thinking on why you lost, chances are you will never get any better. Same with the guitar. If you just grab a guitar, start pulling strings at random, I don't think you will get better. When you learn to play the guitar, you search classes online, search how to put your fingers and so on. It's kind of the same with fighting games. Just like if you need to know the game, like you have to do the tutorials in your game, you have to know the mechanics in your game. Same as first in guitar, you need to learn what each string means and what it means to put your finger in a certain place and so on. In other words, you have to know your game, your mechanics, your buttons, to actually start playing it and getting better at it. So now you have the mental fortitude, you can think of why you lost and you know your game. So try working on it. If you're losing to a bunch of lows, try blocking low more. If you're losing to a specific thing a character does, put the training dummy to do that specific thing and find an answer. If you're having trouble finding that answer, try asking other people. Go on forums, go try to find a video on it. Maybe someone inside the community will help you. Anything goes, just try. So you learned the mechanic from your game, you know your game, you lost, you came back, you got angry, you let it out of your system, you thought of why you lost, you worked on it, you go online again, and that same kid is doing the exact same move over and over again, and you lost again. So what was the point of everything I told you up till now? I'm full of shit, right? Well, yes, but still hear me out. What I'm telling you here is that winning is not the only payoff when you're getting good at a fighting game. You will still lose, quite a lot, even if you're improving. So you need to find other things to satisfy you, to work as payoff. Like blocking that tricky mix-up you didn't know how to block. you worked on it in trading mode, and you finally were able to block it in a real match. You got a round off of someone that's really good. You actually made that combo into that setup you've been practicing a lot. Those little things that remark your improvement, those little things are your payoff. And from here on out you just repeat, and over time you will get good. Notice I didn't tell you anything specific to any game, this is just general stuff. But I told you what you need to do, the process in order to do it. Many people just told you practice, 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 but they don't delve into the little things. Even if I don't do it, I'm giving you an idea of. Nonetheless, I'll give you pointers on what you need to look out in games. Look out for the frame data. This does not mean that you need to know the exact frame data. You do not need to be one of those guys that know exactly what's plus, what's minus, the startup of everything. You don't need that. You only need to know the basic of that information. You need to know, is it safe? Can I punish it? Does it have invincibility? Where does it have invincibility, and so on. That level of knowledge is enough to get you better, maybe not enough to make you a competitive international player, but it will help you get good in the game. Keep an eye out for the playstyle players have. What does your opponent like to look for? Games like Skullgirls have now 3 out of 5 in quick match, making this a lot easier for you. Not many have this sort of format in the online play, but it's actually kinda better if you play offline to get better, but many people don't. I got better, I got decent at Skullgirls by only playing online, so it is possible. So now that I told you all this, you may want to implement it in your fighting game career, but just remember to have fun, enjoy the process. Even if you get angry, try to have fun, try to do the stupid stuff when you're playing. If you are too angry, maybe you will actually learn something new. Meet new people, make new friends, join communities, maybe you'll find another game you're into, maybe you will draw in more people to play your game. Fighting games are a multiplayer experience, and in the end, that's what video games are about. Having fun. Well, thank you to anyone that actually listened to all my rambling for some reason. If you have any doubts of how to get good, if you have anything specific, like something you're having trouble with and you still don't know how to deal with it or anything, just post it in the comments. Hit me up on Discord, on Twitter, wherever. I will answer, most likely. If I don't answer in like a week or so, just bug me more. So that was it. Thanks to anyone and everyone that watched. Yeah.